our principal, Mrs. Tamika Gilchrist, and most importantly, the student who nominated me for this honor, Sage Christian, and his mother, Mrs. Bertrand. I first met Sage when he was a sophomore taking my AP Human Geography course. By some fluke that we still do not understand to this day, he was not in my honors government course as a freshman, so the only thing I knew about him was that other teachers said I would really enjoy having him in class. At first, I didn't think Sage got me, my humor, or had any confidence in my ability to teach the class. What I now know to be heightened observational skills, at the time I took for silent condemnation. He was the quiet kid who sat towards the back, never wanting too much attention. If he had a question, he was never one to let it go unasked, but it was much more likely that he was going to ask me at my desk than in front of the class. Again, I was convinced it was his way of telling me that he really did know more about the topic than I did, but out of respect, he wasn't going to blow up my spot in front of his peers. He would contribute to class discussion sometimes, would work well in groups usually, and would help his peers when they were struggling. As teachers, we often have that one student, and for some of you it might be the person sitting with you today, who will respectfully question an answer on a test. You said the answer to number 12 is B, but I really think it is C. And you stop and you ask yourself, is he right? Did I make a mistake on my key? Do I even know what I am doing? And more often than not, the student is right. And this was Sage. And even if he walked away from my desk saying, this woman doesn't know what she is talking about, he never let on. The following year, Sage took AP US History course with me. It was during that class that I realized he had not been looking down his nose at me, but rather it just took him a while to get comfortable with me and the way I do things. His good friends were in other classes, which that's what led him to tend to keep to himself. Now that he knew me and his friends were in his class, he became more outspoken, was the first one to volunteer in class, and was the person everyone wanted to work with and sought help from. Not just because they knew he understood it, but because they knew he could help them understand it. When he and his friends would come to my room after school, it was then that I got to learn just how funny and quick-witted he is. I witnessed some pretty amazing comedic verbal takedowns. Throughout this year, I've been writing college and scholarship recommendations for Sage, which have proven to be some of the easiest letters to write of my 17-year career. We've had many long conversations about where he has been, what he plans to do, and I can only partially understand anything he is talking about because he's a math and science kid and I very much am not. And how he plans to get there. He is a genuinely nice human being who hates the limelight, a way in which he and I are similar, and doesn't need accolades to know that other people appreciate him and who he is. As the acceptance letters come in, and he's notified about scholarships, he always makes a point to stop by and share the news with me. I probably embarrass him with the crazy dancing in the hallway and the very excited, high-pitched cheers, but I think he can handle it. So thank you, Sage, for thinking of me in this award. I am flattered and I'm honored. I am proud of you and all that you have accomplished, and all that I'm confident you will accomplish. So thank you. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce the star student for New Manchester High School, Mr. Sage Christian.
MIT Online Science, Technology, and Engineering community, and I got to meet a lot of people and study courses over the summer, and I actually got to spend a week on MIT's campus, and I presented a course there in astrophysics on exoplanets there, and I met a lot of amazing people that I would eventually go on to see again for college fly-ins. And a fly-in is basically you apply and then college flies you out for free. You get to stay on the campus for like about 2 days. And I got to, I saw people from MIT again. I stayed on Rice University, Johns Hopkins University, and Columbia University. And I had the best time at Columbia because I got to see Times Squares at night. And it's something I never thought I'd do. As a young black student from a predominantly black high school, I never imagined that these opportunities would be available to me. So I never thought I would be able to experience them. But even then, I still can't say that I deserve this award for myself because despite common misconceptions, New Manchester High School is filled with very bright minds who work hard and diligently, and I view it as an honor that I'm here to represent all their voices today. I think it should be known that we can't be underestimated at New Manchester, and that for the same reasons that I just mentioned, I chose Ms. Swift as my star teacher because she also believes the same things that I do, and she has worked incessantly to make sure all her students understand and all of them have success in the classroom. She believed in all students even when they didn't believe in themselves, and she has supported my academic career ever since I met her in sophomore year, and I can't thank her enough for that. As for the future, I hope to continue applying for scholarships and do college interviews. A few weeks ago I found out I was accepted into Georgia Tech Early Action, and last Friday I found out that I was declared a semifinalist for the Jack Kent Cooks College Scholarship Program, which offers up to $40,000 per year to attend a 4-year accredited undergraduate school, and one of those recommendations was by Ms. Swift. And as for what school I plan to attend, well, since all decisions haven't come out yet, it's yet to be seen. So, I would also like to thank my mom, and Mr. Terrell, and Mrs. Gilchrist, who's been the principal for the last 2 years and has done a lot of work at New Manchester High School, and I'm proud to say that I go there. Thank you.